Immediately, we were being jumped on and sniffed. He looked like a fluffy beast who didn't know his size. His face was goofy and extremely friendly. He was just an oversized lump of love. Following him was a tall, slim woman with short blonde hair and fair skin. I wouldn't have been able to guess her ethnicity had we not known, but since we did know, she definitely looked French. She was wearing all white and matched the house. Again, I noticed the pattern. I began to wonder if all expats who moved overseas lived in white houses and had closets filled with white linen wardrobes. She greeted us immediately after we finished saying hi to the main reason we were there to begin with. She was relatively friendly and showed us inside. "Can I get you anything? Coffee, tea? How was your journey?" Louise asked. She went behind the first kitchen, which was located at the end of the long living room. In between was the dining room, although there were no walls to divide the space. The grayish-white shiny tiles glistened underneath the modern light fixtures. The only things that weren't white were the bold red cabinets in the kitchen and the dog. He plopped down on the cold floor and looked up at us with his big brown button eyes. "I'll take a coffee," Boris replied. "It was good. We're happy to be here." I didn't feel like getting into the details. "That's great. We'll have a seat, relax, and then I can show you around the neighborhood." Boris finished his tiny cup of fresh brewed cafe from a machine set up on the counter. We knew there were a few things that the French took extremely seriously, and good coffee was one of them. "Help yourself to anything in the kitchen. Just look around the cabinets. Don't be shy." Ding, 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 the magic words. We never wanted to take advantage, but given that we weren't getting paid to be there, we saved money in other ways. So far, almost everyone had left full pantries and fridges. And even though we normally didn't eat half of what was in them, we made use of what we did. Especially here in Singapore, where we knew how expensive it was. We didn't need much, but we're grateful for the offer. We knew we would look around later once she wasn't around, but we were excited to see what they had for us. After Boris finished his drink, we went back outside to the little open area between the front door and the gate. There was a comfy wooden bench with white cushions and pillows underneath a silver roof. Then they had a motorbike parked along with 4 bicycles. "Here, take one of these. We'll go to the supermarket." Louise grabbed one of the bikes and then rode out onto the street. Boris grabbed another one, and then I was left with 2. They both looked the same, so I just took the one closest to me. There was one thing in particular that all these bikes had in common, which made me realize there was one thing the entire family had in common. They were all tall as fuck. Well, definitely taller than me, but just as tall as Boris. I was the only one who stood out. I dragged the bike onto the street and then tried to hop on. It had been nearly 20 years since I had even properly ridden one. My first bike wasn't until I was 9 years old. I put it together myself and then carried down the 3 floors of our Brooklyn walk-up. There were no training wheels, so I just took the time to teach myself slowly. Once I finally learned, but before I could perfect my skills, my bike got stolen. And I hadn't been on one since. That was my bike experience. And now I had to just jump on and ride on the street in an entirely new country. I was terrified. As soon as I hopped on, the bike toppled over and I went down with it. "Oh shit, are you okay, babe?" Boris came to my rescue. He, unlike me, was an expert. His long legs made him a perfect candidate for bike riding. I, on the other hand, just needed to be close to the ground, and preferably not on some moving contraption with a seat that fit like a thong. I stood up and brushed off my knees and fixed my hair. "Yeah, I'm fine. I just need a minute." I watched as Louise looked at me in horror. She wasn't as much concerned as she was confused. What's with these Americans? I could hear her judgment in her expression. I knew I had no choice but to make it work. I gathered myself and then hopped on again. This time I was balanced. I almost fumbled and barely looked like I knew what I was doing, but at least I was staying on. I felt a really strong urge to start sharing our nomad adventures, which were completely unplanned, and we just wanted to explore the world without any expectations, just living in the present and following our intuition. And what ended up happening was so incredible that in 2018, I knew that I had a purpose to start writing everything down and start sharing it. I hope to share more, and if you're interested, you can get these books on Amazon. All 3 are there, and I'm currently working on the 4th book, which is Cambodia and Thailand. So if you're interested, check it out.